Hello everyone and welcome to Let's Play Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link. And on this episode, well on the previous episode, just as a recap, we basically went around the final Kasuto town, and then we found Three-Eye Rock Palace, and on this episode we're going to jump down this pit. And this is kind of a bottomless pit. It just loops back and forth, 4 screens, but you want to take the third screen here and go under this locked door. It's kind of your clue that this is the direction you need to go. The 6th palace is actually very big. It has a lot of kind of dead ends to it, so it's easy to get lost in this palace. But actually, honestly, I've actually made it through this palace several times without using a map. And I think, honestly, as long as you have a good sense of direction, you'll figure it out. But, you know, there are areas that could kill you if you go into dead ends, so it's probably better just to look at a map, I suppose. Or follow what I'm doing, because that wouldn't be a bad idea either, would it? These rooms actually look quite a bit like the rooms in the 3rd palace, the Island Palace, but the palace is much harder. Here we have to have Fairy to go across this bottomless pit here, well, this lava pit, sorry, and we're gonna have to use Fairy quite a bit in this level, and that's another reason why it's good to have the magic key, because Fairy uses up a good bit of magic, and if you had to use the Fairy spell for every single keyhole, you would quickly run out of magic and have to find red jars all over the place, and that's a pain in the butt. And here we've got another encounter with our old blue friend. I like how he's just wrapping over to the other side of the screen there for a second. And by the way, I'm kind of curious what you guys want to see in the future as far as Let's Plays go, what games you might be interested in. I'm open to requests, so if you're interested in something that I may not have on the radar, or you're not sure what I have on the radar, just give me a comment and let me know. But anyway, back to the game. Right here, it's kind of a pain in the ass because there's actually a 1-up doll over here, and it's guarded heavily by a blue iron knuckle. And take your time with them. Just get a couple of hits in. And it really sucks because we need a lot of magic at this point and we don't have it. And it's also guarded, by the way, by a bubble there. 2 bubbles. And you'll get hit even if you get the 1-up doll. So what I'm going to have to do is, since I don't have the magic to use an appropriate spell at this screen, and I'll show you that in a moment, I'm going to have to pretty much go all the way to the bottom of this pit, which is a separate pit, by the way, and get a red jar. But that's alright, you know. I mean, thankfully they give you a red jar down here. They don't leave you trapped, you know, and say, hey, you know what, if you're stuck and you're out of magic, you're stuck. Just, you know, off yourself, and hopefully your life and magic will be back to normal, but at least they give you that. So, I mean, there's a lot of people that say this game is extremely difficult, sorry, and it is, but they do give you, they do throw you a bone every now and then. And that's one good thing about the game design is, even though it was difficult, they do give you options. It's not impossible. Now, I honestly think some Nintendo games are a lot harder than this. I mean, 2 that come to mind are Castlevania 3 and Battletoads. I've never finished Battletoads. I don't know if I'll ever be able to finish it without any sort of cheating or sincerity to it, but whatever. But Castlevania 3 is a fun game. Castlevania 3 is a game that really doesn't emulate very properly in a lot of emulators, so. Now here you want to use the Fairy spell, and we're almost completely out of magic, of course. But, you know, we'll survive. And it kind of sucks because we can't use jump right here, but honestly we have the up thrust, the easiest way to take care of this enemy, and this is called Barba. It's just an up thrust right here. And you'll kind of uppercut his chin, and, you know, it won't be too bad. Doesn't take too many hits, just don't fall in the lava. And you'll be A-okay. By the way, I'm pre-recording this on the 20th because, well, 21st is well, my birthday, so, yeah. Basically pre-recording it so the 21st I can just kind of take it easy. So this will be scheduled for the 21st sometime. Now when we hit 9,000 points, by the way, we can choose anything we want, and we actually get an extra life. So now we're at 8 lives, which I think ought to suffice for the Great Temple, you know. This is not too bad of a bridge. I mean, it's just a bunch of Zoras and Bagabagos. Well, not a bunch of Zoras, but... But anyways, here is the old town of Kasuto, and if we have the cross, or the Holy Cross, Satanic Cross, whatever you want to call it, we actually see the Moas flying around. If you don't see them, they're going to be invisible and they will hurt you. And it's better just to do this. And this is a spell that we do need, by the way. And this is a spell that's going to use up a lot of magic points, even at, look at that, 64 points, even at a magic power of 8, so yeah, we only need it once. Thunder, really. And 64, that means it's going to take up 4 blocks of your magic meter. So, yeah. So that means that your entire magic meter is 128. So, by the way, there's nothing in these extra rooms. I just thought I'd show them. If there is anything in these extra rooms, let me know, but I've pretty much searched off-screen everywhere in every single room and couldn't find any hidden messages or anything like that, so... And you got me on that if there's anything special here. But I'm just going to show you that all the rooms are empty. So yeah, now we know what happened to the old town of Kasuto. They pretty much packed up and left. They said, no more, we're out of here. Bye-bye. Yeah, I'm gonna skip that. All the rooms are pretty much the same from here on out. But I wouldn't probably go in here unless you have the Holy Cross, but if you don't, you'll actually get kind of you know, a notes or messages or clues or whatever saying that, hey, the other town's out west, so, or out east, sorry. Now we have to work our way over towards the Great Palace. And it's going to take a little bit of effort, but we'll be alright. I do like the fact that even though the palace took away a lot of my health and magic, that it at least healed me at the end of it. Because if not, it would have been a long walk back to a town. Of course, we're going to walk through a graveyard. I guess this is the graveyard of everybody that's died on Death Mountain. Well, maybe not Death Mountain, but the road to the palace. And here's a red jar if you need it, which is nice. Now, this area has a lot of traps, and there's a way to get around the traps. And I'm going to do that in this episode just because it makes it easier. And the way to do that is to know where the traps are and to walk on the traps as soon as one of these enemies runs into you. And what will happen is you will actually go into that, you know, random monster screen like this instead of actually going into the trap. And you can actually do that for the other traps of the Garus that we encountered earlier in our last episode. So that's pretty nice. So that's what I'm doing with the traps here. I'm just waiting for them to show up, and then I try to walk onto the trap square, or the trap spot with the enemy. Because this is much easier to deal with than the traps. This is what the traps kind of look like, but you also have a Daria with an axe, or maybe a Jeru, but it's not in a good location, so I'd rather not deal with it. Besides, we're gonna need all the magic and life we can get, especially if I'm to do this in one life, which is what I'm trying to do. And that's going to be really difficult in the final palace. But we'll manage. There's a lot of bad enemies around here, but they're not too terrible. Like that guy right there, you can usually time it, you know. This is one of the worst Jerus, by the way, because, or Garus. Yeah, I think it's Garu. Because he can throw, some sort of a weapon or bola or whatever you call it. We don't need any points anymore, so I'm gonna say screw it. This is another trap, so what I'm gonna do is try to wait for the enemy to show up. There we go. Hopefully I made it this time, if not I'll just have to do it again. I'm not sure if I moved up at the right time. Nope, I didn't. So, that's one thing about the traps, but at least you can kind of, there we go. At least you can kind of, practice it, I suppose. You can consistently do it, and it really doesn't take that much time. And, yeah. And the final cave. Before the Great Palace. Look at what we have to deal with here. Isn't this great? Well, anyways, this is about to wrap up this episode, so thank you so much for watching. On the next episode, we'll take care of the Great Palace. Have a good day. Goodbye.